Hello Internet, I'm HamsterBomb and you guys are joining me for another figure review video. This has been a really long time since I've been able to do another one of these. Obviously I select video game characters, well, usually I go for stuff like that. Kim sometimes wants to have us review all sorts of other stuff, but even still, this is a recent one I really wanted to show off because I started reviewing God Eater stuff for the channel, and I have just finished the original game, God Eater Resurrection. The review for that has just gone up, and I wanted this to come out around the same time, kind of show off finally a new figure I get to do of a character from the God Eater series. This is actually from the original God Eater, as we can kind of see from the box here. And it's an interesting character choice that they went with, because there's obviously your protagonist is kind of like a customizable character. You can't really choose them, you know, it would just be weird. And then there's just a bunch of secondary characters who all have like equal standing with each other of importance, like Alisa does, as with like Soma or Shio and a bunch of other ones. So, I mean, I guess it makes sense. I just find it a little strange that basically everything is Alisa everything. So, I guess she's just a really popular character design. So, we'll dig into that, see what she has to offer, what she looks like and all. I'm going to move that back there because that thing, we'll talk about how that figure actually goes. But I want to look at the box first, you usually do. So, actually, just so we actually have some room here, let's take a look at this thing. And honestly, I got mine used. This doesn't really look like it's in some great shape. When I was looking at the one to get it, it looked a lot better in its photos. But still, at least we can see what the box art looks like. Everything that we're gonna see today should be in this box. I'm not absolutely positive, like I said, because mine was a used one. There's the side here. So this also, I wanted to point out, this is a D-Arts model. I do have some D-Arts that we have seen on here before. The Pokemon ones are all D-Arts. Later, they have been changing their name to Figuarts, so that's a thing to keep out for. There's some sun damage on the back of this box, and some of the corners are frayed, but it's not a really big deal. I mostly save these things just for like storage anyway. So there's a couple shots of this on the side. I'm going to move that guy in the back where it was before. Let's take a look at what this comes with before we get into the figure itself, because there's a lot of things I feel like I want to say about this, and I want to keep this short because I have a tendency of, spending way too much time talking about these. So let's look at the faceplates first. I want to go through like the little accessories so I can kind of get these off the table. And as always, unfortunately, my camera has really bad autofocus, so I'm just going to set this to manual so we can see everything up close. So the detail on these honestly looks like it's pretty nice. It's pretty close to like Figma level of detail that they put in these things. There's actually a little bit of okay, good. That wasn't a scuff. It was like a hair or something on one of those faces. So anyway, this one we have like I guess a plain smile face and then like a shouting action fighting one. It's good to have the variety. I do appreciate having extra faceplates. The one that she has right now, we will see in a bit, it's more of like a neutral. In terms of extra hands, and these are really weird. I want to show off like this very shimmery, almost rubbery plastic material. That I think the boots are made of the same material. These just have holes for the joints to get pegged into. Honestly, these hands feel a little odd because you can kind of see that the paint job on them, especially that the one I'm showing on my left, is just kind of missing a little bit. They could be better, but honestly, they're so tiny, as you can see, it's not a big deal. So we got two fists. The next two I've got here are two open hands. There goes that one. Two open hands. And fortunately, everything that hand-wise she has is symmetrical. She has one of each for each part. And these all have the same, inserts in the bottom. And now these, I expect you're supposed to use a heck of a lot more. And this is for grabbing the weapon, I assume. Because that God Arc, good lord, it is heavy. It's huge. You can kind of see it's the same size, just as her entire model. It actually looks like there's something inside of that left one. I don't know what that is. You can kind of see that in there. I don't know. I haven't used this hand yet. Could probably get it loose in a bit if I needed to. Now, before we get into the figure itself, there's one big thing that is really, let's put the focus back, strange about this is, honestly, I don't know if this is the stand that it originally was supposed to come with or not. I wish I could tell you for certainty. I spent a long time trying to deal with the seller and get that for certain, and we really couldn't figure it out, or rather they couldn't. So, unfortunately, I can't say for sure. However, I can say absolutely inside this plastic in the box, there are spaces for 2 of the little arm, these things. I have extras over here, long story. We were trying to figure this out for a while. There's room for these guys, and that head and the one that is grabbing around her waist right here, which we'll take a better look at in a moment. Those 2 are both in here, and they are different. This one's clearly for grabbing the figure, and this one's clearly for grabbing the weapon. They're just shaped different. But so there were 2 of them in here. I don't know if you got one of these bases or 2. The seller who I was working with to try and get this thing arranged for us, yeah, they didn't really know. They had a lot of these, so they kind of just sent me an extra one of these stands, which was really nice of them. Unfortunately, what they had originally sent, you can kind of see this issue, these don't go together at all. It doesn't even stay. This is a cylinder peg, that one's a hexagonal peg, so I assume these are accurate, and the new ones that I have here are right, which is why I'm showing these, but I just wanted to point that out. I legitimately don't know if this is accurate or not. Alright, so how about we show up the biggest thing that's probably just going to fall anyway. I'm going to take that from you, Alisa, really quick. It's this ginormous God Arc here. So, this thing is huge. And honestly, it's one of the biggest deciding factors of what you're going to choose to get if you want to get one of the D-Arts for the God Eater characters. Well, basically, it's Alisa. So, there is I think there's one for her from 2. I haven't played 2 yet as of the recording of this video. I'm going to play it, like, soon after. I wanted to be totally unbiased when I did these. But anyway, the weapon for this, just the sword version, it looks really nice. You can even see in the little detailing and the nooks and crannies of this thing. I really appreciate that they went through all that effort to make this look really good. So you could choose the blade form and then get, you know, the rest of, I assume, everything the same of the Alisa figure, or you can get the gun form. Now, they both seem to go online for about the same amount of money, which is about time that came up. This thing is going for way more than what it listed at, which was around 45, maybe a little more than that, US dollars, and yikes, it has more than doubled. You're lucky if you pick one up for 100 with the shipping included. It's just nuts. Yeah, you'd be really lucky if you get it with shipping included. So it really is crazy. Like I said, I was honestly like, I'm not gonna spend that much for this. I just wanted to get something used, just so I can at least show it to you guys, and hopefully it's not in too bad a shape, so we can still show this off. So, what is kind of a shame is that you of course can't have both weapons, because that's like the whole thing. I go about this in my review that I think is so cool about God Eater is you can switch between a gun and a sword, and you can kind of see that the gun piece is on here, and it looks really nice. The transformations you see in the game are totally impractical and cannot happen in real life, so I understand how we can't physically have these all shifting into being different pieces. You can see, however, what I think it was a Tear Stone shield she has equipped on here. Also, so like the shield, totally impractical, couldn't move like that. Plus, if those parts all moved, this would be even harder to hold up, and it is big enough already. Now, it's not too heavy, but if you're supporting it just on that handle, you can kind of see it bowing right there, it's big. And there's nothing like metal running through here to make sure that that doesn't bow. It's still just plastic. So this guy is really huge. I really love the detail, looks awesome, but it is huge. I'm gonna set that thing down, and let's actually look at the stand very quickly, and then we're gonna finally take a look at Alisa. So you can see this should say Bandai. I believe this is the right one. Like I said, I'm not positive, but I wanted to show you these 2 different heads on here. Now, I think I have several that look like this, which is more of a gentle clasp kind of thing here. It's not super strong. You can see how easily I can just move these, so too much weight on one side and this really could teeter, and, you know, one of these goes, and it drops whatever. For example, I have a Mewtwo, and the Mewtwo, you want to show him, like, levitating and floating in the air and all that stuff, and you basically only have these things to lift him up. No, it's so frightening, and you put it on, you know, any table, and if it wobbles just a little bit, it's probably coming down, and you don't want to see a figure that expensive, much less one like this, come down, and I hope we're not upskirting ourselves there. I was not paying attention. So anyway, I don't feel confident with doing this for anything airborne or trying to hold it up in the air. You can see how this is not very sturdy. Now, twisting, that requires some more effort, and I appreciate that. I just wish the other joints were a little tougher, or rather, the ones that are a problem are these very little ones right here. Those I'm concerned about. Now, same kind of goes for this guy. I'm going to bend down so we can see this one. I had it twisted in an angle so it would properly grab the God Arc. This is really light, and once again, I don't know if this is the correct piece to go in here. It sure doesn't look right, because it could go twice as far into this thing, and it just kind of pops right off. But still, assuming it is correct, it's not a great fit. This thing barely clamps. Even still, like, this side in particular, you see how loose that is? This is supposed to be holding up the God Arc. And it's just really light. I really have no idea. So, another thing about the stands, before I go and push this away, I don't know for sure if they were only giving you one of these or two, these bases. Because, you know, you can pop out these pieces and put the stands, as you can kind of see there, into, you know, the different sides, and you kind of gotta get creative of how you're going to suspend some things and get the angle you want without another base. So it's weird. I'm just gonna move that because honestly it's really confusing, and I think we could just move on with it because I'm nervous about it, and honestly I will probably end up just getting some other stand elsewhere to hold it up. My friend Matt actually owns this same one, and he doesn't even know what the original stand was because he said he remembers getting it and said it was not doing its job, and he just bought something else. So that could be an alternative. It's an option. So anyway, let's take a look at this thing finally. I'm going to try and stay at this distance. I'm trying to pay attention to both you know, what's in front of me and then what's on screen way behind me, so it's a little confusing. But anyway, starting with the head, the hat is a separate piece. So you could see that in one of the arts in the back, and honestly, I think it's sculpted at the perfect shape to where it can go on and off really easily, but it also can kind of snugly, you know, stay in place. So the good thing it didn't fall right when I said that. That would have been horrible. But anyway, yeah, it kind of stays in place really well, and I was kind of using some of these alternative hands, which I guess I can show you now, kind of like a almost like a gripping, almost like a trigger pulling finger. I wonder if that's what it is, and they were repurposing a trigger pulling finger, but you don't have the gun. But anyway, I thought it looked really good with the hat, and kind of used this piece, and then the same hand on this side was a perfect shape for actually holding the God Arc. So you can utilize multiple hands to get that job done, so that's pretty good. I'm going to remove the hat just for the sake of trying to show off the rest of this. Also, we have the face, which, like I said, was like a kind of a plain one. The arm joints and everything kind of move exactly the way you expect, which is good. There's none of the itty-bitty little joints that, you know, gave me a problem. Fortunately, it's not like the Revoltech kind that, like, click, 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 click. What I am concerned about is how tiny the joints are in the hands. You could see that itty-bitty little piece. I'm going to pop this off just so you can see it. Look at how tiny that is. That is a joint. And I can see that breaking very, very easily, especially because when you got to put these hands back on. I mean, if you're very careful, and you've done this a lot, you'll be very gentle with it and make sure that you're pushing it back in at the right angle so that you don't break it. But I have broken wrist joints in figures before, and it is no fun. Now, granted, not a D-Arts. I don't really have a human-shaped one, I think. I just have the Pokemon one, so I'm not positive on that. But anyway, you can kind of see, this is kind of bothering me a little bit, like this shoulder kind of pops out a bit. You can see that on that side, like the joint is exposed just a little more than I would like. That could just be because of the shape of the top she's wearing. I'm not really sure about that. But anyway, some bits that I want to point out that are actually really impressive. The strap here, this is rubbery plastic. Like, I could move that anywhere. That's really nice to see, because it can also hide that joint, like what I was just saying on the other side. Mine looks like it's kind of twisted. I'll have to fix that. I didn't notice it until right now when I got this close to this. The skirt is also attached to it and is the same rubbery plastic. And that's also nice to see, especially because, like, you're gonna do all sorts of odd poses with this. Like, you know, it's an action game. You're trying to move really, really far, so it's good that, like, the outfit isn't too restrictive on that. This is also really good that it's another rubbery piece. I like rubbery pieces because it doesn't make me get too worried about breaking stuff. Because also, like, here, you can get a lot of range of movement with this, so it's a nice design that they went with. Probably cost them a little bit more to make this, and it's good to know that they went that far. Now I have a couple scratches on mine, little scuffs. You can kind of see right here on the boots. I think these are like scuffs from like factory defects, but that's an actual scrape on mine. Going through the rest of this, it kind of moves exactly the way you would expect, which is good. Hip joints have a ton of range of movement. Same for the knees, which I think have a really nice effect to them. You see that they put like the same kind of polish, it looks like, that the boots have in the joint in the knee, which is good for hiding them. Also, if you line them up like that, it seamlessly gets rid of those lines, so it's really good. Also, the paint job is much better on the figure itself than that one bit of one of my hands just happens to look really bad. Also, tremendous range of movement in the feet, like absurd. Fortunately, farther than you would ever need it to go. And I think that's a good thing, because you can actually, now do something super unnatural like that, but because you can do that, you can actually get it to the farthest extent you want and get it to still stand up. You know, so that's ideal, especially with something that is holding a piece as big as this. It's so big that you got to make sure that the weight is distributed correctly. Otherwise, you're gonna have some troubles. She, fortunately, even though it's ridiculous in the game, is wearing high heels. It's really helpful here because now there's like multiple points of contact on the ground, and you'd be surprised how not difficult it is to get her to stand up. I know right now her weight's distributed a little weird, so it wouldn't exactly work, but still. One other thing that I wanted to point out about God, what was it? It was like on the tip of my tongue, and then I completely forgot. Maybe it'll come back to me. Anyway, so yeah, there's a ton of range of movement in the feet, like a ridiculous amount. Oh, I remember what I was gonna say. When I opened mine, I honest to God thought, and let me know what you guys think about this, that the calves of mine, so basically the knee to the ankle, or not the calves, I guess, just the lower leg, these were on the wrong leg. I don't know about you. Can anyone tell? It looks like, because they're bowing out, and I would expect them to bow in. Now, it makes it really a lot better when I'm trying to do, you know, something wider like this, like a wider stance, or maybe like a run and jump. But when you stand it up normally, to me it looks like they're on the wrong leg. I don't know if that's the case or not, but I just thought it was interesting, something a little weird that I wanted to point out. So anyway, yeah, that's basically it. There's a lot of detailing that they went into this. I really appreciate the rubbery plastic. I don't remember what they call little God Arc bracelet things that I never really understood, because they're like so huge. I don't know how you ever change clothes or shower with these things, because they're so huge, locked on your hand. I was gonna make a joke about that in my playing with myself review video, and I completely couldn't fit it into the script because that video was monstrously long already. So that's a shame. But anyway, that's Alisa, and that's just this one from the first game. I'm kind of curious how it turned out when they got to... Sweet, it is standing on its own, just to kind of prove you can do that. When it comes to the second game, I know they made another one. So maybe we get a chance to check that one out later. We'll see how God Eater 2 even is. Haven't even got a chance to play it yet. But still, just wanted to show off that this one's really well done. I really appreciate how the hair looks too, and how that also comes off like a normal figure, the face plates and all that. It's really easy to change. I have changed all of it so far. The only thing that concerns me with this is that stand, and the fact that the price is really high right now, and I doubt that they're going to print more of these. And if anything, God Eater is only getting more popular. So that is only going to make this harder and harder to get a hold of this original one. And especially with the anime going over the original game story with this Alisa design makes this even more in higher demand, so I can see this being very tough to get a hold of. So yes, good luck out there if you're trying to get a hold of one of them yourselves. Hopefully you can score it for less than I had to, and hopefully the price for this thing goes down at one point. I don't really see that happening unless the demand or the stock changes, and they're probably not ever going to print more of these things, and the demand I can only see going up, so it is not looking good. But still, the quality of it is there. Like, you could have fooled me into saying that this was a Figma were it not for this stand. So that is outstanding. So I'm really glad to see that, and I hope to see some. I'm honestly now seeing this is how nice it is. I'm much more interested in the rest of the D-Arts and Figuarts lines just to check them out for later. But anyway, for now, that is all the time I have for this video. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this one and checking out this figure, and I will see you guys in the next figure review video. See ya!